I gotta be honest with you, things have been pretty damn stressful for me lately. You know, I do these videos every single day. I'll have a game plan, 100 different video ideas for what video to do for the day, and I just go with that. I don't ever try to think about other stuff. My days are constantly just shooting videos, telling you about what life in prison is like, showing you what life after prison is like, and just doing after prison show content. That's pretty much my entire life at this point. And don't get me wrong, I love to do this. I really love to tell you guys all about this, and I'm really grateful to have this opportunity and this platform and this channel and the support and APS Army and all of this stuff right here. I'm totally blown away by all of this. You got to understand something though. For the most of my life, for pretty much all of my life, at least for the time I was a teenager up until going to prison the first time, going to prison the second time, and all of the times before that, getting locked up, spending all of my life just in and out of jail or prison, I wasn't shit at all. I was a nobody. I was nothing. I was a drug addict. I was a criminal. I was wrapped up in doing just dumb shit. And then I served 7 years in prison. I lose so many years of my life. I go from my 20s to my 30s in prison. And I guess that was the wake-up call that tells me, Joe, you got to make some changes. Things have to change, or you're just never going to be anything at all. And I do that. I reach my absolute lowest point while I'm in prison serving these 7 years. At the very beginning of that sentence, within the first year that I was locked up, I reached my absolute lowest point. A point where I wanted to kill myself, where I had Seroquel pills in my possession, like 1,400 milligram Seroquel pills in my possession in jail, sitting in isolation, and thinking to myself, Joe, if you want to end it, you have a way to do it. We could take these pills and that's it. But I don't, and I bounce back from all of that, from that low point, from that absolute miserable depression of being locked up, and realizing at that point that I'm gonna lose so much of my life in the situation that I was in. I bounce back from all of that, and I get through the time and I make the most of it that I possibly can, focusing on artwork, focusing on writing, focusing on a plan for the future, which would ultimately lead to me being right here, being able to shoot these videos for all of you who support After Prison Show. It's a really awesome thing. It's a crazy thing to think about all of the shit that I went through to get right here. But at the same time, it doesn't come without a price. There's a lot of things that I don't get a chance to talk about here because I'm constantly focused on, you know, whatever video it is that I'm doing for the day. But I go through a hell of a lot of shit out here. You know, every day is like a fucking struggle out here. There are still demons that haunt me and skeletons in my closet that just keep knocking, and it just scares the shit out of me to think, like, what if I give in to that? You know, I was a drug addict for a lot of years. Cocaine was a major problem for me. Pills were a major problem for me. Hell, even probably drinking was a major problem for me. And I gotta be honest with you, I still get these urges. I still think about doing drugs. Even after so long, I can't even remember the last time I did drugs. 8+ years ago was the last time that I ever did drugs. And I still get these fucking urges telling me, you know what? Let's just go get some coke. Let's just get some pills. Let's get some Adderall pills. And let's just do that. Let's take a little break, you know, from all of this, from reality. Because at the end of the day, Joe, you know you better than anybody else. And that's a scary fucking thing to think about. To think about the fact that these urges sometimes haunt me for days at a time. And I'll be completely honest with you saying that there are times when I come very, very close to giving in to those urges. I said this in the video that I did about my addiction problem, or my addiction history. Hell, I don't even remember what the video was at this point. There's been so damn many. But I said this, I said, there's this saying that says, once an addict, always an addict. And some people believe in that and some people don't. But personally, I do believe in that because I'm still dealing with that type of shit. And I think to myself that if I give into these urges and I just do these drugs, or if I just take a little break from reality and just go get high and just piss it all away for a day, you know, I think to myself that that would only be the beginning of the end again. And everything would just pretty much fall apart because of that. I don't want to see that happen. I've built something great here. We have built something great here because of all of you. This is something great. This is something that I live, breathe, and bleed for 24/7. You know, a lot of times I just feel like I'm having to put a muzzle over the content here. I can't just be 100. I can't just tell you, hey, I'm dealing with some issues where I feel like I'm getting ready to go fucking piss my life away behind some fucking drug thoughts again. You know, these thoughts that just won't fucking leave me alone. And with these thoughts come me thinking about the fact that if I do this, then everything again is just going to fall apart. I don't want to see that happen. I can't emphasize that enough. But with that also comes the fact that I've been like kind of fucking depressed lately. You know, and I don't even know why. When I was younger, they told me that I had like depression problems. I used to go to counseling for this. And I can remember going to these counselors and them trying to diagnose me and put me on different medications, Zoloft and other antidepressant medication. And I just always used to be so against all of this, so rebellious against any kind of help or treatment that my family ever tried to get for me. Because in my mind, how could anybody ever tell me what the fuck is wrong with me? Are you inside of my mind? Do you have any idea what's going on inside of my fucking head right now? You don't. You're just some person who went to school and read some books. You probably never even have been depressed in your life. So what the fuck do you know about it, and how can you tell me what is wrong with me? And you know, I think about that now more than ever because of the fact that, you know, for once in my life I've accomplished something. This After Prison Show, the greatest accomplishment of my fucking life. And yet at times I still find myself depressed. Like it's the hardest fucking thing in the world some days for me to shoot these videos. Some days it takes everything in me to get these videos shot, to put on this this face, this mask basically, and just act like everything's okay when inside I feel like it's just all crumbling and falling apart. I don't know if it was because of when I was younger that I had this depression problem and these drugs started becoming a part of my life, but I know all of that shit probably intensified with all of the trouble that I got in and the fact that I spent so much of my life in and out of jail, in and out of prison, dealing with so much constant chaos that would surround me 24/7. That only like intensified all of the bullshit. Seeing people in prison shooting up dope, seeing people in prison smoking crack. Drugs in prison is pretty much the same thing as drugs in the free world. The only difference is they're going to cost you a hell of a lot more in prison. In fact, people will spend their entire family's money that they get sent to them on drugs, not caring about anything else in the world, not even a bar of soap or a stamp to write their loved ones and say, hey, thanks for sending me some money, because they're just going to piss it all away on drugs. So, you know, to be constantly surrounded by this lifestyle of just negative bullshit and to already be dealing with a lot of issues myself, it only makes things worse. You know, I think about just so much stuff. The fact that these drugs still haunt me, the fact that some days I'm depressed and I can't even understand why. And then there's other things as well, like social anxiety, where some days I don't even think I can go outside of the house because I feel like everybody is staring at me. And this was something that definitely was compounded immediately upon me being released from prison. I can remember right as soon as I was released from prison, going to Walmart, feeling like everybody was looking at me, staring at me like I didn't fucking belong, going to a bank for the first time and walking into this bank feeling like everybody was looking at me like I was getting ready to rob the place, You know, all of those thoughts right there, I understood those. I understood those as, well, fuck, Joe, you're just coming home from prison. You've been gone from the world for almost a decade. Those thoughts are kind of expected. But here I am like a year and a half after my release, and I'm still dealing with that social anxiety. That was a problem that I didn't have so much before going to prison, but it's definitely a problem now. Some days it doesn't bother me as much as but other days it's the worst damn thing in the world. Like, I can't be around anyone at all. And I think in the comfort of this little freaking cave that I've built for myself, in front of these lights, in front of this camera, in front of this computer behind my back, that's my safe zone right there. That's like what keeps me sheltered from those crazy feelings of anxiety and like panic attacks. I'm dealing with a lot of shit. The crazy thing about this is that no matter what, like, I'm not gonna let this beat me. I can't let it beat me. I mean, I can't. I don't want to see myself go back to prison. I don't want to see myself have to deteriorate back into my old Joe lifestyle. That was a life that I've left behind over 8 years ago. I don't want that shit anymore. But every day it's like a constant fight to stay above and ahead of all of that negativity from my past that at times just wants to put its hand on my shoulder and pull me back in. People ask all the time, like, Joe, why don't you go see your old prison buddies? And the truth of the matter is because a lot of those individuals have already had that hand grab them on the shoulder and pull them right back into their old ways. So those aren't really good people for me to be around. There is like 1 in 100 of these people that I was locked up with who is actually out here doing something good with their life. And I'm so fucking proud of them for that, and so just inspired by them as much as I'm inspired by all of this here. But that's a main reason why I don't go see prison buddies of mine. Because I'm doing everything I can to keep myself ahead and in front of everything from my past that at times still tries to drag me back into it. Whether it's people, whether it's the places that I used to be, bars, neighborhoods, anything. It's almost like it's like a trigger. Like, damn, I remember this 7-Eleven right here. I used to go get cocaine. I used to meet my drug dealer right here in this 7-Eleven parking lot. And this is where I used to go get my drugs from. You know, just passing by a location is enough to spark that thought in my mind to say, Joe, hey Joe, hey, maybe we should take a little break from reality for a while. I've always been the type of individual who can figure it out. Matter of fact, I was just talking to a good friend of mine just yesterday. And you know, I talked to this person about certain issues, especially in relation to AfterPrisonShow. And he said to me, he said, Joe, you know, I know you're not worried about any of this. Because you've always been the type of person who can find a way, fall flat down on your face and pick yourself back up with a smile on your face and have a plan for how to move forward. That was really awesome to hear, but at the same time, you know, what happens if I do fall down on my face, whether it's with the addiction, the depression, the anxiety? What happens if I do fall completely down flat on my fucking face and I don't know how to pick myself back up with that smile on my face and a plan for how to move forward with all this? What if I'm all out of ideas and options? That's some scary shit to think about. I don't think about it though. I can't. Because if I think about it, then I'll dwell on it, and that'll only bring those thoughts of depression and thoughts of, Joe, fuck it. Fuck it. Shit's starting to look a little ill, Joe. Fuck it. Let's just let go of reality for just one day, just a couple of hours. It's almost like voices inside of my head that are just messing with me. You know, a lot of times in these videos I try to be happy. I'm happy shooting these videos. Even if it's a face that I'm putting on to just be happy for that video, at least for however long that video is, in that moment, in that video, I am actually happy. I'm happy because I'm doing my job. My job is to tell you this prison stuff. And in those videos, I'm happy. But it's like when I turn off the camera and I stop recording and I go to start editing and I go to start getting everything ready, and then the video gets uploaded and I answer comments, and after all of that, it's like I'm only left with myself. And that's a lonely fucking place to be. By yourself with just your fucking thoughts. It almost reminds me of being in isolation in the hole when I was serving this time in solitary confinement with these Seroquel pills, ready to fucking end myself. It's almost like reminds me of that time. Sometimes. Not all of the time, but definitely sometimes. And the only thing I can do when I start to feel like, what the fuck? Is almost just like slap myself in the fucking face and say, Joe, figure it out. Whatever the fuck it is, whether it's these drugs that want to come back into your life, or this depression that at times feels like it's too much to take, or this anxiety that just makes it feel like you can't even go outside. Fuck that, Joe. You're stronger than that. You dealt with much worse than that. All this time that you spent in prison, damn near a decade in just this last time alone. Figure it the fuck out. Pick yourself back up, put that smile on your motherfucking face, and have a goddamn plan. I've been dealing with a lot lately. And it ain't all fucking sunshine over here. It may seem that way in these videos, but I gotta tell you, some days are almost fucking unbearable. But I don't get a chance to talk to many other people because, well, for the most part, I'm pretty fucking alone. But I talk to all of you every single day. So maybe, you know, maybe this is like that therapist when I was a teenager that I didn't want to take too serious, that I didn't believe could help me with my problems. Maybe this fucking camera right here is the therapist, and all of you out there are, well, you're a part of that too. I appreciate every single one of you that rocks with After Prison Show. No matter what. And no matter what, I'm going to figure it all out. I'm going to get beyond this bullshit that's in my life right now. And it's going to be good. It has to be. Because this is the best that my life has ever been. Ever. And that is a major thanks to every single one of you out there. Thank you.